Hello. Gotta get this so I can see out of. Well, I've been posting a lot on Facebook, but I will recap. So I have been in Georgia. This is the third time since my brother died. So I came down in October, and I came down in December, and it's January, and I'm down again. So yesterday I rented a truck. I gave up on the idea of emptying the house of the trash. Anyway, so I rented a truck. It's 15 feet long, a U-Haul, and I have my car up on a trailer. All four wheels, the whole car is on the trailer. And I'm heading north. I left yesterday about 4:45 in the afternoon. Took me that long. I think I went to get the truck in the morning around 9 or 8:30 or something. First I had to go get gas and have them pump up my tire. And then I went to the grocery store and got a couple rolls of paper towels so I could clean off the furniture before I put it in the trailer, the truck. The missionaries came over. Will Grant, he's a friend of his family, and our family were friends. He came over in the morning about the time the missionaries got there, and he took the washer and dryer connections apart, and he also took the bed frame apart from the headboards. And the missionaries took all these things to the car, the big heavy desks from upstairs, and one's ornate. It's my grandfather's. He was a medical doctor, and it was his fancy desk with his fancy chair, and then there was another fancy chair for the patients to sit in, I suppose. Anyway, so they packed up all the boxes up onto the top. There's this little part that goes up over the cab. Good morning, Corrine. I was feeling tired. Well, let me finish my story. So they packed everything into the van. I sort of had a picture in my head of how it was supposed to go, and I followed that plan. It was a prompting from the Lord. He's been with me the whole time. He's really given me support. It's amazing. I just dump everything on him, and he gives me back a little bit. And somehow we end up accomplishing the big thing. It's quite amazing. I shall be by your side, and angels round about you to bear you up, or something like that. Anyway, so I didn't leave the house until I had taken the mold off of a set of encyclopedias. They're not encyclopedias, it's Bookhouse. Have you ever heard of Bookhouse? There's Bookhouse for children. And then this Bookhouse is like civilization. It's the history and explorations, but I think it must not be too terribly difficult to read. My sister read it when she was very young. She read the whole encyclopedia. Can you imagine? I don't read that much. I'm a doer, hands-on, move things about, create things. But I read for information, but not for pleasure. Mostly I read for how-to, I read basket-making books and such as that. Anyway, I went through the whole basement with Scarlett on the phone. I would tell her the name of the book and the copyright date, and she would say yes or no. And I packed them all in old boxes that were here and there in the basement. And lots of these plastic containers, they didn't have lids, but they were durable. And so I'd only put like 6 books in a box. So the missionaries were only there for a few hours, a couple hours probably, maybe more. I don't know how long it was. But then they left, and Lise, this older woman from down the road, she came up and she said I needed to eat, and she brought me food, and she put it in a bag, and I didn't have time to eat. I had to get that the rest of the truck packed. I brought all the clothes of my parents. Can you imagine? It's been 9 years since my dad died. And all of his suits were still in the closet. I hadn't touched them, and Mom hadn't touched them. And Mom's clothes were in the upstairs closet and in the downstairs closet. And then my brother's stuff was in the downstairs closet and the upstairs closet beside my mom's. And then there was more of my dad's clothes in the other bedroom. So it was a lot of clothes. And I decided, I'm almost done with the warp for my rug. For my, on my loom. And I'm about to wind another warp. And I decided I would take all these wool jackets and wool pants and even the ties and maybe even the shirts. I don't know about the shirts. Anyway, and I would cut them in strips and make a rug. It would be my family rug. Really. All of those nice clothes. I'll put ties in between. It should be kind of interesting rug. We'll see what it looks like. Putting the warp on will take a long time. And so I hit the road at 4:45 after the truck was packed. And I packed it really well. I was really pleased. I even took my trunk. I took the 3 barrels from the basement. When the basement was new, when we first moved there, I would, my brother and sister and I would get in these big, they were not wooden, they were cardboard barrels, packing barrels. They have things written on them like good china or lamps or something. Anyway, so I took 3 of them. We used to roll in them. We'd get in them, we were little. We'd get in them and we would roll across the basement floor. It was a big, empty basement at that time, all nice and brand new and clean. And after I was done, I went through the house to check. And I stood there in the rooms and looked at them. And I realized that the room that's my dad's office, it's green walls. I painted it green when I was about maybe 13. I painted one wall checkerboard, dark and light green. And then I had my friends sign it. And then later I painted over the whole thing so it was all that dark green color. But that was my dad's office. First it was his bedroom, and then it was his office. And the room that I've been staying in when I was there, it turns out that's my brother's room. And in the big room, my parents' room, I remembered when my sister and I shared that room. I don't know where my parents moved, maybe in the downstairs bedroom or something. So Cindy's room was downstairs, and Charles's was upstairs, and mine was upstairs. But when it was empty yesterday, it was so cool because those rooms have never, ever been empty since 1963. And it was kind of interesting because I'm at a rest area in Pennsylvania, the Welcome Center. Those rooms have never been empty, and so I remember sleeping on a sleeping bag on the floor when we first got there from New Jersey, and the moving van wouldn't come for a day or two. So we were in this big brand new house that smelled brand new, and the walls were, I think my bedroom was pink, and Charles's bedroom was yellow. Or maybe it was blue, and the downstairs bedroom was yellow. I'll have to ask my sister. She was the one that had the downstairs bedroom. I always thought that was the best room. But she was the oldest, so it was fitting that if anybody got to have that cool room downstairs, it should be she, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, that was kind of interesting. I took photos of the empty house, but you know what? After I removed all the furniture from the dining room, I looked at the dining room, but I never photographed it. I was thinking of making a video walking through the house, and I have memories of so many things in that house, so many, views out the window, and I used to climb out on the roof and sit on the roof. I'd get in trouble. But I did it anyway, of course, you know, being who I was. Anyway, and so it's done. There's no reason to go back now. So I left about 4:45, and I drove, and about 9:30 I thought of getting a room. And then I thought, but you know, I was only about Wilkesboro, North Carolina or something, and I thought, I could go a lot farther. I could actually, you know, put some distance behind me. Instead of a 2.5-day trip, it would be less. And so I got out these 2 little energy drinks, and I sipped on them. I put them in water, and I sipped on them throughout the night. And I stopped twice and went to sleep in the front of the van, the front of the truck. It has these 3 seats, and you put the arms up, and if you try and lay with your back to the seat, you've got these seat belts in your back. But if you lay with your back off of the seats just a bit, there's the console is pretty close, so you can kind of lean your butt against it and curl up on the seats. And I actually went to sleep. I wasn't sure I would be able to go to sleep because, you know, these energy drinks, they kind of give you the jitters. You're not awake enough to be awake and drive and do something important, but too buzzy to go to sleep. But I did sleep, that was good. But then when I woke up, there was all this traffic. Oh no. It was 5:45. Oh no, all this traffic jam. You know, it was really easy because in the night, because every rest stop there'd be like 30 or 40 trucks parked for the night, which I thought was just wonderful. It was hard to be warm. I turned on the truck for a little while and ran it with the heat on, and then I realized that I was probably using up a fortune in gas, so I turned it off. I think I used about 1/8 of a tank. I had to get gas at some point last night, and the first place I stopped wasn't open, and there was this fellow there. He pulled in just after me, and he was a repo man. He was young. He was probably he looked young, but I have no idea. Maybe he was in his 30s. You know you're getting old when somebody in their 30s is young. Anyway, he might have been in his 20s, but he loved his job. He was just getting off work, and I asked him how he does it. Like, does he go to the house and knock on the door? And he says, nope, I just go to the car, back up to it, hook it on, and take it away. They don't pay their bill for a month, and they lose it. Something like that. Anyway, so he says that was the best time to work, was in the middle of the night. I guess so, because then the cars are at home. Poor people. So it's not light yet out, but I made it to Pennsylvania. I think it'll be a lot easier now. Maybe. But it's probably a busy time. It's hard to drive when the roads are narrow and there's construction walls on the sides. It's hard because you have to be, the steering is so, hi Pat, so the steering is so touchy. You just barely touch it and you move. And so you have to be so careful of not overcorrecting, or you'll start weaving or something. But I've got it down pretty well. I can, just give it a little tiny bit, but you have to give it a little more if it's a bigger curve. And I have not given it enough and given it too much, and it's a learning process, and I'm praying constantly that I stay safe and the angels watch over me, and I don't want to wreck the truck. I don't want to scratch it. Anyway, it's hard, when you pull into a gas station and you pull up to the pump with the truck. Well, when I pull up to the pump with the truck, like if I've had to go around the pumps, my car doesn't make the same angle. It really cuts narrow. So I have to back up and redo it. But I'm getting good at it. By the time I get home, I'll be really good at it. And I'll never do it again for years and years. Oh well, it's all a learning process, isn't it? Oh, I was going to say something. I had a prompting. I'm trying to act on promptings. The first prompting you get, the first time you get a little idea, that one's from the Lord. We rationalize it and think about it and decide, no, I don't want to do that, or, we change it. We figure it's our own voice in our head. But really, the first one is from the Lord. And so I've been trying to follow those very first promptings, which makes me have to pay attention, because usually I don't pay attention. I'm just all over the place mentally. But it's, so I had a prompting a little while ago that I should say about getting along with people. That if there's somebody you can't handle, if you can just say to yourself, oh, that's just so-and-so. It's not a horrible thing that they have this personality flaw, that they're always, quick to get mad, or they're sarcastic, or picky, or whatever it is, whatever their weaknesses are. That's just so-and-so. And that, I've been able to accept things like that. And also, if somebody is sending daggers at you, put them in a box. Put them at a distance and look at them, and look at this person and all these emotions and words that are coming from them. It really has nothing to do with you. Nothing at all. Because put you with a different person with the same situation, and they would not react that way. So you can't let things like that, it's very hard, but you have to see all the daggers coming from them and just look at them and say, whoa, look at all that. Not, oh no, that hurts so much, how could he say that? You can't take things personally. You have to say, oh, that's just so-and-so, and this is the way that person is. When I was married to my first husband, I thought I was a really rotten person. I thought I was, incapable. I was put down because I had a university degree, but I couldn't shovel pig poop. Treats for the whole family. Oh yeah, the furniture, you mean? Is that what you're talking about? This lady that came over and helped me yesterday, I guess it's yesterday now, after the missionaries left, she said, you have to eat. And so she went out and she came back and she had this bag of food, and she said, don't forget to take it. And she says, now they had two choices. You could have chicken or you could have salmon. And I didn't know which one you wanted. And I said, salmon, because I was thinking about how they raise chickens now. Don't think I like that. And how they bleach the meat and other such things, and the regulations for all these things. Who knows what regulations have gone down the tube. But anyway, so I had salmon. But on the way, I reached into the bag and there was this giant apple. And I ate it, and then I reached into the bag and there was a whole big bag of grapes. And then there was a whole bag of blueberries. And then there was this dinner, and it had this huge chunk of salmon that was kind of fried on one side, crispy on one side. And and in there with it was quinoa. I'm not sure what was in the quinoa. Didn't really have a good look at it, but it was not rice, it was quinoa. And then the other thing was broccoli. I think it was broccoli. It was kind of crunchy, but it was so good. I just picked at it while I drove. It was really amazing. I couldn't believe she had bought all this food for me. It really was sweet. I had prayed after the missionaries left. I said, please send me help. And she came, and I asked her if she could help me bring the two twin mattresses up from the basement. I figured they'd been covered with blankets and sheets and such, and perhaps wouldn't smell. And they didn't smell. I mean, I'll know later when I get them home, but I don't think they smell. I think they're going to be fine. They're really firm. They're really like brand new. So I brought it, and I brought the headboards and the frames so Desmond can have a proper bed. His bed is it's very wide, but the frame isn't solid. It's not a good frame. It's kind of collapsing under the bed. And anyway, so this will be good. I hope it works out. And I brought the washer and dryer. They were brand new. I bought them 9 years ago, and they've barely been used. You know, my mother, how much laundry did she have? Not much. So maybe they were used once a week or something for 6 years. Well, not for the last 3 years. So for 6 years. My brother probably used it a bit, but anyway, they're excellent condition. So I'm bringing them home, so my daughter can have a washer and dryer when she gets a house, and so it can just be stored until then. My son's going to let me store all this in his basement. I really would like to have that dining room table and chairs. I really love that table and chairs and china cabinet, but I would have to, take everything else to Ben's house and just have that. It's all possible. It's all doable. I don't really have to have all the furniture in my house where it is already. Anyway, hey look, it's breaking dawn. Look at that. Look at that. You can see. Can you tell the difference? Since I started the video, it was very dark. Anyway, so I made it to the Pennsylvania line. This is the rest area. The whatever it is. Civil War trails over there. It's very interesting to be in the South. I found out that my house, I always suspected it, but my house and all those hills, it was all cotton fields. I don't know where the plantation house was, but a friend from up the road who knew my mom, I can't remember her name, kind of an unusual name. Anyway, she said that she had been searching for the graves of these slaves. And I guess that Beechwood was once called Brooklyn. That was the name of the area, was Brooklyn. And so there was a Brooklyn cemetery, and it was lost. And she spent 13 years finding the graves and writing everything down from them and finding out who the families were, who their descendants were, and letting them know where the graves were. What an act of service, what a kind person. But I've always, it's so sad, what happened there where I lived. Who knows how they were treated, and slaves were not generally treated very well. And then I was listening to the radio, and because it was Athens and it was in the Deep South, I'd never heard a show like this before, but it was about these fellows who were like slaves, or their children were. It was from the point of view of the children of the slaves. It's a very interesting show. I wished I could have listened to more of it. Maybe you could find it online, I guess. It was WGAU in Athens, Georgia. And it was about the blacks and their history. Anyway, that was very interesting. While I was there at the house, when I would leave and I would go be in somebody else's house, it was like real life again. And then I would go back to that empty house and down into that storage shed of a basement. And it was really difficult. I couldn't wait to leave. Not sure why I couldn't wait to leave. But I couldn't wait to leave when I was 15. And then I was there for a while till I came back after Jamaica and the farm. I was there for a couple years, and I went back to school, university, and never did finish. I lacked 2 courses of anything over the 100 level. Oh, and I was going to say something else. I was going to say that, the pursuit of excellence. I was listening to this person playing the violin, and Cesar, or something like that. César. Yeah, I think it's César is the composer. I don't know, maybe not. It wasn't César Frank. It was somebody César. Or it had two C's in it anyway. But I was thinking about in the church how we've always been taught, well, years ago anyway, we were taught to do something really well, to do your best and try and improve and make goals, and the pursuit of excellence and how good it is for your soul, your mind, body, spirit. And I was thinking that I don't try to do that anymore. I accept lots of flaws. But for years there were a lot of depression. A lot of the sisters would be depressed. High rates of depression in Utah. And I think that it's really important to allow yourself to make mistakes and to accept those mistakes. And you grow every time. Mistakes are not just blots on our history, or bad spots on our lives. No, mistakes are stepping stones. You only learn from your mistakes. I mean, if you do it right the first time, what have you learned? You already knew it. But I was thinking, I've been supposedly playing the violin since I was 52, and I'm 64 now, so 12 years I've been practicing the violin. Some years I would go and I'd only practice it 5 times, but I can now play by ear. I can pick out a tune. I have to know the tune very well, and sometimes when I'm picking it out, I get confused because I hit the wrong note, and then I hit the wrong note, and keep going around trying to find the right note, and by then I've completely forgotten what the last note was and where I should be and what part of the music I'm in. So I have to start over. But it's we're too hard on ourselves. You have to allow yourself to make mistakes. You have to allow yourself to unpick half of your knitting. I wouldn't unpick it because I think mistakes are okay, and I don't know. But then, of course, nothing I ever make is really perfect. Like I thought, if I were to ever take all my baskets and try and sell them, somebody would just buy my perfect baskets, my favorites, the very best ones. They wouldn't want the ones that have mistakes in or misshapen or something. So, of course, I never want to sell them, because who wants to get rid of their very best stuff? But, you have to try things. If you get an idea, if you're, be still my soul, if you're close to God and you're trying to follow and do the right thing, and not just like obey the commandments and don't do big sins. That's not what I mean. But if you try and follow the Spirit, follow the promptings, it will really lead you. Like the other day, I was so bummed out. I had to go back to that house, and I had eaten rice the night before, and I had no energy, and my arm hurt. And I was so bummed out, and I heard this voice in my head, keep your eyes on me. Look unto me in every thought, doubt not, fear not. And so I just kept my eyes on him, and I would listen for the voice, and it would let me know what I should do next. Look at how late it's getting out there. Too bad I didn't get a whole night's sleep. Guess I have to get another energy drink, but I'm still kind of got the shakes a little bit from the last one. They've got as much caffeine as 1 cup of coffee, I think. These little energy drinks I take. Oh, look, there's my car out there behind that trailer. I'll have to take a truck. I'll have to take a photo of it. I have a long way to go. But I'm in Pennsylvania. I'm getting there. I may have to sleep over tonight and finish tomorrow. But I don't think I will, because I drove through the night. So instead of 2.5 days, I've already done, I don't know. I started at 4:45, so 4:45 to 4:45, that's 12 hours, but I probably took 2 hours off. Maybe 3. Anyway, it's an 18-hour drive, I think. Or maybe it's 20 hours. It's a lot of driving. But I can do difficult things. That's my motto. I can do difficult things, and if I say it, I believe it. And I have proven it. I have done difficult things that I shouldn't be able to do. But I have applied myself and tried, and sure enough, I can. You know, the phrase, apply yourself. My parents would always say, Nancy, you must apply yourself. That's what the principal would always tell me when I got sent to the principal's office. She would always say, you have such potential. I had potential, just couldn't pay attention. You know, if they had had Ritalin when I was little, my life might have been totally different. I could have focused. Instead of looking out the window and thinking about mayonnaise and turkey on white bread after Thanksgiving. I remember that so vividly. I think it was in grade 9 in economics class, and I was looking out the window thinking, can't wait till I go home and I can have one of those turkey sandwiches. Have you heard about this new pandemic? You know, it was supposed to be the bird flu, and everybody was all in a tither about the pandemic that was going to come, and so everybody was going to go out and get the Tamiflu virus, antivirus, or antibiotics. What's it called? Vaccine. But the fact that people that make these vaccines can never be sued for anything that happens to you, it kind of makes me suspect. Anyway, it's like Monsanto. You can't sue Monsanto. Boy, they're really doing stuff. Poor farmers, you know, they've got these crops now, and if the pollen from Monsanto's corn gets into your field and contaminates your field, it becomes Monsanto's, and you can't sell it. You can't ship your grain. You can't keep your own seed either. It's just, anyway, and you can never sue Monsanto. Canada, we don't sue people very often. I think there's really big limits. You have to have permanent life-altering injury, and it has to be above $20,000 worth. Other than that, you can't sue anybody. You know, so that cuts down on a lot of stuff. People don't pull in front of you and slam on their brakes so you'll give them a whiplash. You know, that's not permanent. Anyway, so it's kind of nice. Good morning, Simply Nikki. Nice to touch base with somebody. It's kind of lonely out here on the road, but it's neat, you know, that I can post on Facebook my hands-free stuff, and then later I can stop and read the comments, and I've been heard. You know, I heard something, somebody was talking about Job, and when his friends first came, the first thing they did when they came was they rent their clothes, which means they tore their clothes, and they wore sackcloth and ashes. They sat in the ashes. Sackcloth is like burlap bags. So they sat with Job. Poor Job, he had lost his whole family, all of his relatives, all of his animals, and then he himself was covered with sores. It was pretty rough. And they came and they just sat with him. And they understood how he felt, or tried to understand. You know, they sympathized, they empathized. Sometimes that's the best thing. later on, they got really nasty to him, you know. You must have brought this on yourself. How could you be so bad? But you know, our trials are not because of our sins or our faults. Our trials, they come to help us. Well, where was I going with that? I got distracted. This guy is dusting. It's very cool the way he's dusting. Quite an interesting dust mop. What was I talking about? I was talking about Job, and then I moved on. Oh yeah. You remember when people were blind when Jesus was there, and people would say, "Who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind?" And he said, it was done that he could show forth his power in delivering him from blindness. And that's an interesting concept if you think about your own life, whatever big challenge you have. And what if the only reason that you have that is so that the Lord can show his power in helping you out of it? You know, like I was riddled with pain, you know, fibromyalgia, all kinds of really bad pain. And I think that I had that so that the Lord could show his power in curing me. Because it was just in following the promptings and paying attention that I was able to figure out why things were hurting. And I was able to, with his help, I mean, certainly not my own, I was able to figure it out and not have to have that trial anymore. I have 2 new hips, which really makes a difference. But isn't that an interesting concept that if you if something's wrong, perhaps the reason it's wrong is so the Lord can show his miracle in fixing it, in helping you fix it. You know, like this whole trip he's been there with me the whole time. He's just been right there helping me, giving me support when I couldn't go on. It was all so emotional. It was so much. It was just so much. And I was doing it alone. Scarlett called me one day, and so I took the phone down the basement with me, and it was so nice to have somebody with me to talk to. And then Dina did the same thing. She and I talked on the phone for hours, and it was really helpful to not be alone in the basement. Some of the time I had to be alone, but reading all these things from our history, you know, it was like I wasn't here now. It was like I was reliving camp and reliving different things, you know, school and essays and all these sort of things. It's very interesting. Anyway, it's been quite a challenge, but now, except for this drive and the unloading, which is, you know, I've got a foot of snow, and I think we're gonna end up putting all this stuff in the basement, carrying it around to the basement. I don't know who's gonna do it, because I can't help lift it, and Willem can't really lift it. Scarlett will be there, and Ben will be there, and Tass. Tass is very strong. But I do have a dolly at home. I suppose Ben has a dolly too. But you know, it's not packed in such a way that you can just open it up and everything you unload first goes into that building and then everything else goes into mine. It had to be packed the opposite way, sort of. So I guess when I get home, I'll take all those bags of clothes out. But where would I put them? There are all these wool suits. I guess they have to go to Ben's house into those bins, and I will bring one home at a time and cut up these jackets and make things out of the jackets. Make mittens, but mostly I'll make strips. Like one sleeve, if you cut it in a spiral, like when you take a strip off of a birch, you know, in Sweden they take an inch and they cut all the way around. an inch wide strip, and it can be very, very long. Stuff going on out there. Uh-oh, the sun is going to come up. Now, which way I'm heading north. Is it northeast? I guess I am heading northeast, so sun might be in my window, but it'll be in the passenger window, so it won't be too bad. It's not like if I was going east. I'm not ready to drive that truck yet. I should eat something. But if I eat something, I might make me go to sleep. But maybe it'll make the jitters go away. I have to eat something good for me. I have to figure that out. You know, I had this paper that Ashley left at the house, and I have been moving around. It was in my car. I didn't want it to be in the house where everything was going away, and I didn't know where it would end up. So I had it on the dashboard in my car, and I forgot to put it in the house. Now I'll have to mail it to her. I have stamps, all these stamps of my mother's, but they're packed in a bin somewhere in that truck. It's amazing. I brought everything. I brought all of Mom's wonderful things, like she had all these wine glasses, crystal, all different types of crystal glasses, goblets and things, and I brought it all. I didn't bring absolutely everything. I got tired of packing stuff, so I didn't bring it all. I didn't bring stuff that had been mended, that had been cracked at one time. I didn't know whose it was in the first place. But you wouldn't put it on the table and serve anything in it. Anyway, I guess I've rattled on 42 minutes. How can I sit here for 45 minutes? That's a long time to sit here and talk. I just feel like I sat down 10 minutes ago. Time flies when you're having fun. I love you guys. Thank you so much for all your comments and for your responses and for friending me on Facebook. You know, if it weren't for you guys, I'd just have a little handful of friends, but I remember a bunch of years ago, I deleted about 500 of my Facebook friends because I didn't know who they were, and you couldn't see their feeds, and I don't know. They could refriend me. Hi, Marie. I love your name. Love them anyway. That's really important, to love them anyway. I was thinking about that the other day. It's total acceptance, isn't it? You are who you are, just the way you are. Oh, you know what I was doing yesterday? I realized there was this woman who pulled into the gas station behind me as I was about to pull out. And I noticed her. I had gone in the building and I was coming back out. And I noticed her in her car, and she had the most beautiful smile. I think she was on the phone. And I went over to her and I told her I thought she had the most beautiful smile. You're off school sick today, Jack. I'm just about to hang up. Anyway, and I thought about how a little compliment like that, like when you think something positive about somebody, tell them. And if it's a teenager, they say you have 15 seconds. You say your compliment and you get away, you look away. You don't look at them and say, wow, you're really whatever, or I like your whatever. You don't stand there and wait for them to say, thank you, I guess. You don't do that. You just say, wow, that's awesome. Whatever you're wearing, you look awesome. And then you turn and you carry on, you go away. And then they can just, it just goes in their head, wow, I look awesome today. Try it. See how many people you can compliment today, but it has to be sincere. It has to be things you really think. Like, they're really dressed nicely, or, they've got a beautiful smile, or they did something kind for somebody else, Never suppress a kind thought. Yeah. It's a generous thought. Never suppress a generous thought. Sometimes those are the promptings, the generous promptings. Oh, I should give this to so and so, and then you think about it and think, oh no, they might need it, but no, I better not. I don't want to give it away. I find out what kind of a person I am when I see what I don't want to share. Very interesting. Anyway, the best way to be happy is to do something for somebody else. It's a miracle what happens to you, and being the recipient of much help, it is quite an incredible blessing, and it makes me thank God. It doesn't make me, I do thank them, but I see that they were sent, and thank goodness they were kind-hearted enough and listening enough that they came and helped, that they, a couple that I never met before my brother died, they have let me stay in their house. How many days have I been there? I don't even know when I left Canada. I have no idea what day of the week I left. It might have been a Monday. Anyway, I don't even know what day it is now. Wait a minute, it's Thursday, the 22nd. Is that right? I think so. Maybe not. Yeah, but never suppress a generous thought. So if you see somebody that's really down and out and you think, oh man, like there was this lady that, she was a woman and she was standing at this intersection and she was from a different country. She was probably a refugee. And she was standing there at this intersection where people stand, they walk up and down and people give them money, and I just pulled the biggest denomination of money out of my pocket and handed it to her out the window. And I felt so good. I tell you, for $20, you can't buy happiness like you can get if you give it away. Give it to somebody who needs it. I don't necessarily mean the career panhandlers, but there was another time I saw somebody that he had no legs. Or maybe he had one leg. He was on crutches, so he must have had one leg. You have to have something, right? But the same thing happened, and I just felt this overwhelming urge to share. That person really had problems. You think you have problems. Well, you have legs. How's that go? I once, I don't know what it is, but bemoan the fact that, yeah, that's cool that you do that. Yeah, they call it paying it forward and stuff like that. Sometimes you go to the drive-through window of something, and one time it happened to me. Somebody ahead of me had paid for my food. I was amazed. It was really cool. I was really amazed. But it gives you such a good feeling. You can go and spend $20 on something that you think will give you happiness. But if you give that $20 to somebody who needs it, who's really needs it, you're much happier. And it lasts, and you'll have the memory of it forever. Like, this was a long time ago now that I gave this guy $20. And this woman, or whatever I gave, whoever I gave it to, but, that memory will last with me forever. But if I had spent it on a scarf, or a few bags of chips, or chips and pop, or something, I don't know, something I wanted, something that looked pretty or something. Those things come and go, and you don't remember them, right? They're gone, and you forget they ever existed. But if you gave something to somebody and you had a reaction from them of gratefulness, and there again, you just give your compliment and get out of there. Don't make them feel uncomfortable by waiting around for them to respond to you. Like, there's nothing more embarrassing to a teenager than complimenting them. So that's why you have 15 seconds or maybe 5 seconds to say what you want to say and walk away. And that gives them a lot more than if they had to say thank you and discuss with you, whatever, you know. Well, here we go. I guess I better get off. Look at this, 50 minutes. But luckily there's something entertaining to listen to this afternoon. This house on the way down to Georgia, no, the way home from Georgia in December, all day long on NPR was the House impeachment hearings. And now all day, today and tomorrow and the next day, after 1 in the afternoon, I guess, is the Senate impeachment trial. Anyway, it's very interesting to hear everything everybody has to say. This is history, you know. This is history that you are living through. No telling what the outcome will be with the state of the situation among the people, you know. A lot of angry people out there. A lot of people that are armed. And it's almost like there's a lot of people that have come out of the woodwork that used to, everybody had to be politically correct, and so all these people never said what they thought, but now they can say what they think, and all these white nationalists and racists and all that, they, you know, and they're armed. It's a dangerous situation, and I don't know how long it'll take, but it seems to me like civil war is ahead. And the breakup of the United States, it won't always be a United States. There's a lot of states that want to separate, and one day they will. There was a civil war before about the slavery. I don't know what the civil war will be about this time, but it's not good to say bad things about other people. It's not good to call people names. Sticks and stones will break your bones, but names will never hurt you. That's not true. We don't call people names. We are polite. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. May I help you? And we accept each other, that we have differences of opinions. You can't express your opinions because the two sides are so at odds that, you know, it's 50% chance that you'll lose your friend. We have to accept each other, accept each other's differences. We all have our own opinions, and that's what they are, they're opinions. It's all opinions. We approve, we disapprove. And what are we basing it on? What is the standard that we base it on? You know, what we approve of and what we disapprove of. Anyway, but we've got to accept each other. We can't let hatred loose. There's a poem that Robert Frost wrote, Ice and Fire. Some say the world will end by fire, and some say the world will end with ice. I've got it wrong. But from what I've seen of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. But what I've seen of hate, ice will too suffice, or something like that. I don't remember the words. But fire and ice, or ice and fire, is dangerous, having bad feelings towards people because of what they believe and what they agree with. And there's always been two different points of view. There's always been, that's the way the whole system works, so that there's room for everybody. Everybody gets represented. And you follow this person, or you follow that person, or you follow this ideology. Tunisia. Well, hello from Tunisia. I wish I could say your name, but I haven't a clue how to read Arabic. Wouldn't that be fun to learn how to read Arabic? To learn how to write Arabic? Of course, then you'd have to know Arabic to know what you're talking about. My hair is sticking up there, isn't it? Look at that, all sticking up. like I put my finger in the electrical socket. I think it's very dry out. It's cold. But I have on my winter parka. Let me show you. I look pretty funny going into the U-Haul place in Georgia with it on. This buttons up. Look at that, it's getting light out. I think that this fur should be combed or something. I didn't realize how bad it looked. I'm not really into combing the fur since it's not even fur, it's, I don't know what it is, but it's something that's all matted down now. Okay, so it's a new day. Enjoy your day. Let me know if you did something to make someone smile, what compliment you shared, and what the reaction was, and how you felt afterwards. But you know, passing along a smile, it's amazing. I've heard it for years that you smile at one person and it's like a ball rolling and they'll smile at somebody else, and you can uplift a whole lot of people with one smile, one kind gesture. People, maybe this video, you know, who knows? You can do little things. By simple things are great things brought to pass. It's really true. Simple things that we wouldn't think have much impact on anything. They do. They have a lot of impact. Hey, I think there's an Amish lady that just went and got in her car, but you know, I say that because she's wearing a skirt. Of course, I always wear skirts. I didn't wear skirts for religious reasons. I wore skirts because I like skirts. I like to be feminine. Good morning, Simply Twee. Did you live in Athens? Did you say you did? I was thinking about you yesterday and thinking, wouldn't it be cool if we got together? If we got to see each other and say hello and, you know, meet. But once I got the truck, I was on a time thing. $100 a day. I have it for $5 a day. 5 days until oh, you live in Florida. You're Teresa, right? Or Theresa? How do you pronounce your name? Anyway. So I didn't go to Florida and see Becky because I couldn't leave everything in the house. The house needs to be emptied because they want to sell it. So I took it. So it means I had to go north. They charge you by the mile, 50 cents a mile. Ah, Theresa. Is that how you say it? Teresa or Theresa? You wear skirts too. I really like skirts. They kept me warm with my knee socks on. But now that I wear long johns and stretchy pants. Oh, you do. You live right below Tallahassee. Mary's going to Tallahassee. And you live in North Carolina. I was in North Carolina yesterday. And then I was in Virginia. And then I was in Maryland. And now I'm in Pennsylvania. As per this wonderful welcome center. All right, well, I guess I better go out there and hit the road. Hey, look, it's kind of misty out there. I hope there's not a lot of construction on the highway. That's really hard driving a wide truck. It's not too wide. It's like a school bus. They're wide. They take up the whole lane. So you gotta stay in your lane. You only have a few inches on either side, maybe 6 inches on either side. So you can't go wandering around the lane or you're into the other lane, then you know what can happen then. I am moving right along. I probably should have slept. But I did sleep a little bit. I'll go get something to eat. And then I'll get an energy drink. That means I have to stop again. Hey, you know, I've wasted a whole hour out of my driving by talking to you here, but it's not a waste, is it? Hi, Jack. I only know you people because of your nice comments, and I recognize your names. But it's nice, you know? It's really nice. Okay, well, hang in there. And I shall talk to you again. Maybe when I get to New York, I'll make another video. Wouldn't that be something? Or maybe when I don't get to New York. Maybe when I'm at home. Thank you. Yes, I do need your prayers. I keep praying while I drive. Have the angels on both sides of me putting their hands to keep my truck in the lane. Pulling my car. Imagine pulling my car. Who would have thought I would have gone? I was going to rent a U-Haul again. I was only going to bring back 2 items. I was going to bring back this blanket chest and this big old 1959 TV. It's a big square piece of furniture. You open the 2 doors in the front, and it's got a big round TV, and the handles, and they go ka-chunk, ka-chunk, ka-chunk. That's what you change channels. Back in the day of tubes. I don't think the tubes work anymore. Especially not after the way it was treated while it was being moved. It was pretty hard to keep on the dolly, and it went clunk. Anyway. And so now I have a truck, and my car has that blanket thing in it. A lot to think about, eh? All right, well, I'll see you on Facebook. You can come over there. I'm Nancy Today with 2 A's, Todaay. And if you find more than one of me, I'm only one. And I've got a lot of things posted. I post all the time, so it won't be something that just has a profile picture that's updated like 6 times. That's a hacker. You can identify them right away. If somebody gives you a friend request, I generally don't give friend requests. So if you're my friend, I've probably already friended you. You've probably friended me. So you got to check them out before you add somebody as a friend. And don't click on those messages. Those people forward all these things in messages, Facebook messages or Messenger. And you click on one of those things and you get a virus. And it immediately sends something. Yeah, we are. And it immediately sends something to everybody in your Facebook thing. And like my son was getting ads for children's snowsuits that I was sending him. So if anybody tells you that, what you got to do, or maybe you should just do it anyway, you log out and you change your password. You change your password and you log out everywhere. And then you're free until the next time you get hacked. I can never remember these passwords, though. But you know, if you want to make up a new password and you don't have any ideas, you could, as you're driving along the highway, you see all these license plates. Those are good passwords. Put 2 of them together, that's a lot of password. You know, any random license plates, especially if they're kind of an interesting license plate, something catchy that you might be able to remember. Anyway, okay, I'm sorry. I said I was going to go, and I really am going to go. It's been nice. So, you saw it here last. You can do this at home. Results may differ. May you not have to clean out your parents' house by yourself. Help is really helpful. All right. Catch you later, alligator. Bye for now. How come I can't? Oh, there. You got to hit the X. X. There we go. Okay. Are you sure you want to stop streaming? Well, no, but I'm going to. Goodbye. Take care. Have a good day.